Okay guys, there we have it. Still a bit rough in spots, but still got a little bit of cleaning up to do. But it's getting a bit hot in here and it's getting hard to work this plasticine. So I'm gonna make the wall, pour the mould, and I'll do the cleaning up once I've cast a piece. It'll make it a bit easier. Okay guys, here we are back. Now, next problem is not enough plasticine to do the shape and the mould. So what I've had to do is use the pinky seal box because it's quite nice and strong and it's got a smooth surface. I've used them before, they work quite well. And the remaining of plasticine, I just pushed it in there as best I can, and I'm going to have problems, I know it. But what I'm going to do is mix up the small amount of existing pinky seal I've got, pour it in around the edges just to find any leaks, which it will do, but it will also be there because this stuff, like all sticky stuff, stick to itself like you wouldn't believe. So I use this little bit left over to plug any holes, then I'll pour the top and I'll get back to you. Bye. Welcome back. Next day. Now, what you can see there is what happened yesterday. That was the remains of the old bottle of latex. That's all I got. Poured it in. One thing I learned is that latex was 19 mils in weight from each, which is 38, and that barely covered it. So 40. So if I mix up 80, I should get a good coverage of that for the next bottle. So I'm going to do that. Now, a couple of little tips. The old mixing cup, don't throw it away because you can just pull out the old latex that's stuck to the surface and use it again. Right. So there's that. Right guys, I'm back. Just poured the next batch. I just pour it all in one cup and mix it up because I find it's just a lot easier that way than getting 2 cups mixed up, making a mess. You just mix this stuff until it's a uniform pink colour. Now, as I said yesterday, this stuff will stick to itself like you won't believe, so I don't need to prep the surface of the stuff the batch I've already poured. It'll just stick. So there we go. Nice uniform pink colour. I'm just going to scrape the sides, make sure I get it. Check the outside of the cup. You can see areas where the colour isn't that uniform. So you can get it, and right down the bottom there it's quite white. You want to get a nice mix because this stuff is expensive, so you don't want to waste it. Okay, bring the gun back. Right, now I'm just going to start pouring it in. The mould, yes, you can see that. Start pouring from the corner. Now you can see all the air bubbles in it. We'll deal with them when we finish the pour. And I've actually mixed up 50 grams of each colour, and that obviously isn't going to be enough. Oh, I keep underestimating this stuff. Okay, that's given me just enough to cover it. And I could even pull some into the centre to cover the centre. Now, the air bubbles, easy way to handle that is just give the piece a tap, making sure you don't knock the walls over. You can always also bang it up and down, and as you can see some little air bubbles coming to the surface. Now what I'm going to do while it's drying is continue to pull silicone from where I don't need it up to that grey bar, which is the back of the plasticine, because even though I'm only going to need this once, I still want it to be strong, and as you can see it's already starting to go off. It must be the heat that's doing it these days because it normally doesn't go off this quick. But that has allowed me to pull the actual silicone to where I actually need it, away from the edge. That's actually worked rather better than I hoped. It's starting to go off quite quick now, so this stuff needs to be really sensitive to the heat because it's not that hot out here today. So that's basically it, guys. Right guys, back again. Now, it's been barely 20 minutes and this stuff has a cure time of 20 minutes, but that's pretty rock hard. So I'm going to pull it apart right now and get on with it. Just cut the tape holding one of the walls. Yep, that's fine. Now you're going to get silicone on your plasticine. Not much you can do about it. Just the best thing I've found is to wait until a cold day when the plasticine's hard and it's really easy to pull off the silicone. Alternatively, you could put the jar of plasticine in the fridge or even the freezer, because the silicone never really gets hard. There we go. Just pull off all this. So you can see it doesn't even stick to the paper or the cardboard. Pretty easy, simple dam for it. Now, getting it off here is going to be fun. I've got to wiggle it a bit. Make sure it hasn't stuck to the actual plastic too much. There we go. There we go. And it's gone into a hole somewhere under there and made a jam. Okay. There's the back edge of our backside of our mould. I'll just pull off the plasticine that I just used to patch up the edge so I can show you what's going on. Okay guys, there it is, take it out of the mould. Now there's obviously some problem with it, but it's very easy to clean up. But you can see where it says the word clear on the side of the gun here. It's picked it up in the plasticine and into the latex. So very easy to fix. You see these areas like this where there's a ridge which will cause problems when you cast. You simply cut it off. Use a very sharp blade. You remember you're going to be pouring silicone on this side, so you can get rid of this stuff because you don't need it really. It's going to be replaced by the new stuff you pour. And just use a very sharp knife so you can just get very easy cuts. See, we've got a really tight space here, so what I'm going to do is just take off that whole edge, because it doesn't matter, because the new silicone will form that side of it. And what you'd normally do is put registration marks in this when you pour it, but because this edge is so uneven, it's going to make a registration mark just from the simple shape it is. So cutting off all this junk. Take that out. Yeah, there's the undercut that was holding it in, so that's not a problem. I'll just get rid of that. Cut in 2 pieces and it just comes out, and you just push the silicone back up into it. Now all this bumpy stuff on the side I'll get rid of, because what you do to stop this stuff sticking to itself is rub it with petroleum jelly. We call it Vaseline jelly here in Australia. You might do as well, I don't know. I'm just trying to make things easier for people. Right, so just going to cut all this off. In fact, I could even cut straight through there, cut a lump of that off, because I don't need that much, and do the same at this end. So what I want to do while I'm doing this trimming is just get as much away as I can, simply so there's no little area like that really deep groove there where I won't be able to get Vaseline in unless I really work it in with a brush or something. Just cutting this off. God, there we go. Oh, that's a problem. Okay, I'll have to take that off, that won't matter. There we go. Okay, so even though it's a bit rough, when I pour the new silicone in, it's just it'll just mould to that shape. It won't be a problem. Now I'm just going to go and finish this off, and I'll get back to you before I do the next pour. Alright guys, here we are back. Basically cleaned up, not too bad. A bit rough in spots, but not a great issue. So this is what I'm going to use, some petroleum jelly. As I said, Vaseline in Australia, whatever it is overseas. And honestly, you need a little bit on your finger, like that. And just rub it on very gently. Now what I'm going to do when I've got it all off my finger and rubbed on all over this, I'm going to get a soft brush and just gently push it into anywhere where I think there's going to be an issue where it might stick, right? Okay, so I've got a little brush, just push it under there. That way when some of the silicone gets under there, I'm not going to have a sticking problem. Just going to make sure it's on all the surfaces that are going to be poured onto. I'm making sure I'm not getting any on the sides, and I'm going to clean off the stuff I have got on there. Now what I'm going to do is just wipe the sides with a dry cloth. Just get rid of any excess plasticine and jelly. Now what you do is just get a bit of masking tape long enough to go around. Put it on the top edge and run it round. Because as you know, if you pour anything into there, the pressure trying to push it off that side is going to pull that side up, and the pressure trying to pull that side is going to pull that side up. So it's pretty much self-supporting. Now what you do is you squeeze the silicone, and you can see there's no light coming through, there's nothing trying to pop off. So now last time that fill took 30 plus 50. Well, I didn't say 40, I know, but it was 50, so it was 80 grams of each, which was 160. This time I don't have nearly as much to fill over, so I'm going to do it at 60 only. I think that should be quite sufficient, and if it isn't, I'll just do the thing of pulling it over on top, and we'll go from there. So I'll get this set up and get back to you. Okay guys, time to pour the silicone. Got my little digital scale. Cleaned out the old silicone from inside the cup. Cup on a scale, weighs 5 grams, zip back to 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go 35 of each, just to be certain. Okay, 36, 37. So that means, just to keep it even, I'm going to do 37 of the white. Now I could add 37 of that, which is 67, 74, or I could just re-zero the scale and go 37 again. Now I'm going to have to work really quick because this stuff's going off super fast in this heat. Now I don't want to get impatient and pour too quickly because I want to stop at 37, so I have to creep up on it. 4, 5, 6, same thing again. You can just see it going uniform. Check the outside, make sure it's all getting mixed. It is. Another trick you can do is, before you pour it, you can bang it on the table, get the bubbles out. You can see them coming to the surface there. Again, if you have a bubble next to your piece, it's not a great issue. You just fill it with a bit of you pour, not on your piece but in the side. You just let the silicone run over it. I've cheated a bit there, and you can see there's not a bit of bad mixing there, so I'll just mix that on the surface, scrape out the rest of the silicone, and I'm going to have to do the piling thing again, but that's fine because this stuff is going off really quickly. I have to pull it just from there only. But as you can see, it's not an issue with the tape. Tape's leaking a little bit in one or two spaces, but it's not going to go far. And the speed of this is going off. It's actually getting quite thick now as it is. It's very stiff. So I'm just going to tip this up a bit just to get it to go the other way. Because moulds do wear out as you use them. You do lose little bits and you have all sorts of problems. But you want, really, honestly, you want at least a good 4 or 5 mils of silicone all the way around. As this is, as I keep saying, a one-off. It's not an issue. I needed to use it once. If I have to destroy the mould to get it out, that's not a problem. That's pretty much it. That's going off as it is, and you can see bubbles there, and you can pop them when they're cooler. In cooler weather, that takes a lot longer to go off, like 20 minutes. But this is amazing, and it's only about 35, 37 at the moment. So so that's all for now, and I will get back to you when we pull it apart. Bye now.